and welcome to P4P TV. This is Michael, and it's been a while, but I'm back. Whilst the two heavyweight top honchos, unified champion Alexander Usyk and reigning WBC and former Ring Magazine champion, the retired, not retired, Tyson Fury, work towards potentially coming to some sort of agreement of putting together a unified and undisputed heavyweight championship bout. The first in over 20 years. Below the surface, a cauldron of major alphabet title contenders continues to simmer over. Any mandatory waiting in line, however, might have to be patient for now, but among those squabbling to get a shot or remain first in line is current #1 ranked WBO International title holder Joe Joyce as he sets to go against WBO Inter-Continental champ Joseph Parker. On the night, there will be plenty of other talent on display with the likes of Amanda Serrano and Dane, Mahfoud, as well as an assortment of valuable pennants up for grabs. The action goes down Saturday the 24th of September in Manchester, UK. Joseph Parker has been on quite the spiritual and emotional journey in recent years and has experienced the peaks and troughs of professional boxing. From WBO title triumph over Andy Ruiz Jr. in 2016 with then trainer Kevin Barry, a pair that have worked together since around 2013 and eventually going their separate ways on good terms in 2021, to suffering back-to-back defeats, both in 2018, albeit against quality opposition, it has to be said. Since his last defeat, that was at the hands of Dillian Whyte, Parker has enjoyed a 6-in-a-row winning streak leading up to his bout with Joyce. In that time, he has undergone a change of training teams. Immediately following that Whyte loss, Parker was back on the saddle and took out his next 3 opponents, lower-level guys and journeymen, but he did it via KO and TKO. But his last 2 fights have been with Team Andy Lee in his corner and Tyson Fury as support in training and fight preparation. Despite an early hiccup against Derek Chisora in their first bout, we saw an aggressive, assertive and resilient Parker to take back-to-back wins against an always dangerous and game Chisora. If I had to find some sort of comparison or way to gauge where Parker's next opponent, Joe Joyce, stands in terms of power, boxing ability, movement and size, I would put him smack bang in the middle of Junior Farr and Anthony Joshua, 2 of Parker's previous opponents. In the Parker versus Joshua match, both came into the ring undefeated. That night, Parker came to fight and showed great movement, agility, timing and aggression. For the most part, he chose to box Joshua from mid-range, where he could break in close with sharp and fast combinations before stepping out of trouble or clenching when he needed to. He showed great elusiveness also at times, avoiding big incoming shots. Against Farr, Parker displayed his infighting ability and as always, that spear-like jab that works so well for him. Much is said of Parker's lack of killer instinct, but to put it in perspective, he has 21 KOs in his 30 victories and to date, he has never been knocked out himself. He's still only just 30 years old and with the right combination of speed, power, timing, durability, guidance, boxing skill and ability to read his opponent's movement. If he comes to fight in the right headspace, all of those things are sufficient enough and the killer instinct is almost redundant. Joe Juggernaut Joyce is steeped in myth and urban legend. Rumor has it that it was Joe Joyce and not Arnold Schwarzenegger that was instructed to knock out a camel in the film Conan so that the scene had a more authentic look to it. A story like that's gotta be true.
Cards are up in my opinion.
Alright, you big beady twat, I was just having a laugh. The truth is that for a big guy, Joyce stands at 6'6", and at the age of 36, he displays an impressive amount of agility. I'm not just talking about the capoeira flips at the end of a fight, but his movement around the ring. It's deceptively quick. He appears awkward, clumsy, and looks like he plods around, but actually he shifts himself in advantageous and tactical positions in a very stealthy and efficient manner. And it's not always because his opponent has forced his positioning. Then there's the obvious attribute in his arsenal, his power and strength. They don't just call him Juggernaut because he sometimes walks out wearing a bin lid on his head like the Marvel character, but because he genuinely separates opponents from consciousness and breaks faces. Just ask Daniel Dubois. Joyce retired a guy in his pro debut. Ian Lawson never fought another pro bout after Joyce. On the Dubois fight, Joyce showed how durable he really is. He was getting outscored and hit clean from a guy with ridiculous knockout power, but yet he wouldn't budge. This is Joyce's style. He keeps coming at you, and no matter what you throw at him, you can't get rid of him. Timing the punches coming from Joyce can also be tricky because they don't come whipping in with any kind of snap. It's a weird pace, still with plenty of power behind them, but as an opponent, you're anticipating a shot to land, like a jab for example, only it doesn't land when you expect it to because of the strange pace that Joyce puts on it. Call it slow if you want, but his ramming jabs and loaded backhand find a home time and time again. Parker might struggle with this kind of off pace. In terms of resume, I would argue that Parker has gone against higher caliber fighters, but Joyce can't be too ashamed of his resume. And although many of the names on there are guys past their prime or not really elite, names like Alexander Ustinov, Bermain Stavern, Brian Jennings, Michael Wallish, Carlos Takam, Christian Hammer, or as mentioned, the younger, hungry and talented Daniel Dubois, these are all worthy opponents that have helped shape and develop a fighter who started late in the game. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to drink Belle Delphine's bathwater, skin flakes, fart bubbles and all, but I think this bout will either be a clinch fest or back and forth action. Parker doesn't knock Joyce out because he's too resilient, but I think Parker's boxing wins the day. Joyce will rely on his power, and if Parker can stay away from it for 12 rounds, then he gets over on decision, in my opinion. Before we hear from the experts, a reminder to please jab that like, share, subscribe, and notification bell. Check out our Patreon page to become a Patreon family member where you'll receive some cool perks. Looking for some new threads? We've got t-shirts, hoodies, and more, so head on over to our Michael Akobi Pound for Pound TV stores. They can be found on Redbubble and Spreadshop, so make sure to check them out. I've said for some time that life is a fight outside the ring, and like so many, I too have battled substance abuse, depression, lack of confidence, and all sorts of trouble on the streets and with the law. Yes, there was much darkness in my life, but I turned it around, and my experiences might help you to do the same if you are or have dealt with similar hardships. It's all documented in my book, How to Get Out of Life Traps, and it's available on Amazon, so just follow the link below. Thank you for watching Pound for Pound TV. Please remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell for future updates. See you in the next one. Looking for somewhere to store your crypto? I'm not a financial advisor, but it's pretty obvious that cryptocurrency is growing in popularity and utility. And many folks think that they've missed the boat on cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but they couldn't be further from the truth. And if you're invested or looking to invest, CoinSpot has you covered. This is not a paid sponsor, but CoinSpot is what I use to buy or sell crypto, and it's where I keep my investments safe. Click the link below and check out the up-to-date and user-friendly charts and overall platform that is blockchain certified and trusted by millions of users. Follow the link provided and enter the code to receive $10 worth of Bitcoin just for simply signing up.